Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Dr. Rizwan Qureshi, one of the emergency physician here in Sydney, Australia. And today I'm going to talk about top 5 time wasters. For us all, basically. We do tend to waste time in terms of having a downtime kind of thing. I'm talking about the things which waste time more than we can afford to. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. And I'll be completely honest, I am also involved in these time wasting activities, and I was thinking about that what are my 5 top time wasters, and these are the 5 things that I think about which are my time wasters. It might be a different thing for you. So first and foremost is social media. Yes, all those Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and I'll probably go in and put in, television there as well, because I think the social media is now grown and involved the TV. Nobody watches the live television. It's all via the internet, on your laptop, on your TV, which is all smart TV. So it's all a big amalgamate. Now, a disclaimer, don't get me wrong. I think majority of our learning now comes through social media. I have learned in so many different ways through social media. I've actually built up a completely different line of income stream through social media via the Emergency Focus Facebook page and Emergency Focus company. And it has been hugely beneficial to me and profitable for me as well. So don't get me wrong. It's the excess of social media and it's the utilization or interpretation of social media in your own life which is actually a time waster. When you visiting the Facebook and you're just browsing hours on end, the profiles and checking on your friends and all that, it just becomes a negative or retarding force in your day. It wastes a lot of time, and before you know it, when you're browsing on the Facebook, watching the videos on the Facebook, 30 minutes, 40 minutes are gone, sometimes even an hour gone. And I think the way these sites are designed are to keep you engaged for as long as possible. They're all designed to sell you advertisements. So even though you might be watching my video right now on Facebook, there will be somewhere in this framework a video advertisement which is making a profit for the Facebook company. So these sites are addictive from the point of view of their content, but overall they are selling a product which is an advertisement, and you are the consumer buying that product even though you may not want it, and that does take up a lot of time. So social media, and I think from that same token, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of these are time wasters. In fact, I have not experienced TikTok myself, and Instagram, I'm not very active there, but I have seen those websites have actually got no positive value for an average person. Like, they are just a manifestation of someone having a good time, but it does not really add much productive value to your own professional development as far as I am concerned. Might be having a different sort of positive vibe for you, but for me, I don't think it adds professionally. Facebook, yes, because as I said, it is a part of an extension of my business. It is how I connect to my number of different colleagues and people, and it is positive in the limitation, but anything more than that, it is also a time waster. Now, I've seen various people and women in particular who would spend hours on end watching YouTube soap operas, and they will be following up on the dramas from back home in the country, and that's fine as long as you've got a certain discipline around it. But it should not actually limit your own professional development, because after all, at the end of the day, you have got a commitment to your professionalism. You need to pass the exam, you need to get on to get a job, you need to also look after your family, and obviously you're engaged in that way. So make sure that your time has got a certain cap in all that social media, YouTube and Facebook, and it's not more than that. Number 2, talking to the friends for extended period of times. Now, yes, we humans are all social people. We like to talk to people, we like to engage in people, but talking extended hours on phone, sometimes going in the range of about 1 or 2 hours, and trust me, I used to do that, and I probably still do that when I'm making long range family calls to overseas, to my mother, to my brothers and sisters. We do engage in longer conversations, and that's fine. If it's happening like once a week or once a fortnight, that's completely fine. But if you're daily engaged in long conversations with your friends who are local and you're not really discussing anything productive. You're just talking about people, about circumstances, about situations, then it's not really a productive utilization of your time. Remember, you only got 24 hours in your day, and if 2 or 3 hours of those are gone in social media and talking to a friend, these 2 or 3 hours could be very, very well utilized in terms of building up you professionally and building up your credentials. So do think about it. Number 3, it is comparing yourself to others. Now, we're all subject to this evil. We do compare ourselves to our friends, to our siblings, to our better halves even sometimes, and that's not very productive, because in this way we don't know what we are comparing ourselves to. We're not similar. We are so different in so many different ways, especially when it comes to our professional development. You don't know what a certain person has achieved. They may have a similar kind of background in terms of coming from the same university or the same college or same school, but what they have decorated themselves afterwards, it's completely different to you. So following them or their strategy is not going to be fruitful for you. And that's very important to realize, that if you follow a person, you're actually only getting a glimpse of their life, following them on wherever you are. The majority of their life is hidden, and it's often deliberately hidden by that person, so that you don't know what the real hard work goes behind those cogwheels of success, what is happening in the background. So don't compare yourself. Make your own story. You're the best person to tell your own story. You know about yourself in terms of your strengths and your own weaknesses. So when you're filling an application form, when you're writing your CV, please do a complete scrutiny of your own personality and be true and honest to your strengths and weaknesses. In that way, this will be the best outcome of your own personal and professional self on a piece of paper to get you shortlisted for an interview. Number 4, over planning. Now, sometimes we tend to over plan things, thinking about the minutest detail, which is often not required. It is often better to go and do things abruptly and find out the course and the chart as you're going along. And any sort of over planning is going to destroy the very beauty of that struggle, of that period of hard work. When you over plan, you write down, make timetables, you say that, okay, I'm going to start, and I'll start and I'll do X number of hours on day 1, day 2, day 3. That's just too much. You need to just start. And I remember when I was in my college days, in med school days, I used to over plan my study patterns and way too much. And to be honest, none of those study patterns had actually worked for me. I could never stick myself to the timetable. Actually, making a detailed timetable is actually setting yourself to a failure. Having a relaxed timetable that, look, I'm going to study 3 or 4 hours a day as soon as I get time. I'll just get down, open my books, write my CV, update my application form. That's it. You don't have to think too much about it. Whatever thinking comes after actually doing it for the first time. And that's something which I've actually learned about doing workshops and courses, that I used to plan my courses and workshops often in too much detail, often so much so that half the plans are still in my mind. I'm not being able to put them in practicality. But when I decided, okay, I need to do this workshop, I used to announce that, and then everything planning wise would come afterward, that I had a deadline to meet and I need to do that. And by adhering to that deadline, I was able to think and get a lot of productive work done. Number 5 time waster is what I call that unrealistic head start. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it on Monday. I'll do it at the beginning of next year. I'll do it when the lockdown is over. I'll do it when the pandemic is over. That will certainly never happen, at least not for now. So don't give yourself that delayed head start. Having an early head start is actually an experience, as I said, in learning process. You need to understand when you're doing things that how can you pace yourself over the next day, over the next week, over the next year. By actually delaying that learning, you are meant to be failing. You cannot just go ahead and decide that you're going to start next year and you're going to just lapse out all those 5-6 months. A typical example of that is that people are not getting dates for their AMC clinical exam these days because of the pandemic. They're limiting number of cities. So they're just putting aside all of their studies. They're not studying there at all. And I often tell the candidates coming to my courses, please do engage in study. That exam date availability is set. When it's going to happen, it'll happen and you will get that. But don't limit yourself in terms of personal development, personal growth, personal study. And people who actually do well are going to utilize this time, these 5-6 months, prior to dates being announced by the AMC or whatever it is. And as soon as the dates are announced, they will be ready. They will not be ready when the dates are announced and then they start planning to study, because everybody will be rushing in and getting a head start. And remember, if you get a head start in any particular race or in any particular task or a project, you will almost certainly get there first, and you'll almost certainly get the best of it, and you'll almost certainly make the most of it. So do think about it, give yourself a head start. Don't plan further ahead, Mondays, next year, end of pandemic. It's certainly not going to happen.